Anthony, do you see us?
You know, this is the first time I'm going live on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
Never. I'm awful at this stuff. Awful.
Well, actually, I usually do it on Patreon. So YouTube is, but we have moderators here and they're awesome. Let me make sure it's showing up right now because sometimes there's a little bit of a lag.
Okay.
Hold on. Where is mine?
Oh, morning from Australia.
Yeah.
Miss Sharon. Hi.
Where's the live? Okay, there it is. Oh, okay, there it is. There's the live.
Me too. Commander Vimes Boots.
All right. We are. I can see it. All right, we're live.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's Erica. There's one of our moderators, Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Okay, I've been waiting for this for like 2 years.
I'm sorry.
No, not because of you, because of schedules and also lots of stuff. But just so you know, on Patreon, we all did a watch party for Fresh Kills.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And we talked about it afterwards. So we're going to talk about Fresh Kills and then other stuff. But there's so much I want to talk about. Before, for anyone new here, let me just, in case you're not aware how awesome Jennifer is, 25-year acting career. You're a director, a producer, a writer, podcaster. Also, we'll get to that later on. You've written a best-selling New York Times book about celiacs. Or what is it called? Jennifer's Way. Jennifer's Way. Fresh Kills. This is like a very special movie to me. I'm oddly I'm passionate about it. I care about it because I felt seen for the first time in my life in many ways, and I'll go into that in a minute. But for anybody who doesn't know, you wrote it, you directed it, you funded it, you went through hell getting this thing made.
Hell.
And even though the movie critics and like you didn't get the press it deserved for it to launch the way it should have.
Nothing. They buried it purposefully. Yeah. They took it, they dragged it out in the yard, just like the movie Mafia. They're like, this bitch going in the yard, we're going to bury it. Yep.
And yet, despite that, you still got what Roger Ebert called it, .com called the best Mafia film since The Godfather. You have an Astra Award for Filmaker On The Rise. Like you got a lot of
bunch in the film festivals. Yeah,
people who actually saw it, loved it. Oh, and also I saw on Rotten Tomatoes you had like what was
93.
Yeah, and then like 4.8 out of 5 stars on IMDb. So there's no reason why this shouldn't have done really, really well. The acting is phenomenal. The acting is so good. Yeah. Like Oscar level acting. So one of the things I wanted to talk about with you tonight is, well, first of all, we'll get to like what you're doing now and like why you're doing it, but I kind of want to start with how Fresh Kills kind of encompasses the whole thing. And I didn't realize until I read some interviews that you did, like, and this makes it all the more important now because this was not a movie. This wasn't a mafia movie. It's about family. It's about a broken family. It's about women not being able to tell their own stories. For anyone who doesn't know what the movie's about, it's from the point of view of a daughter of a mafia. So it's like the wives never really get their stories told from their perspective, but the daughter. And also what I really appreciate about it is not just the violence of it all, men's violence, but also like the pick-me-ism that's in it and how the moms and how like the women in this environment as a survival mechanism reinforce it. Just like all of us know what that's like to have the family member, their friends, or maybe church or somebody who's like, yeah, just marry that guy or just blah, blah, blah. Just have a baby, even though it's not in your best interest.
Nope.
So you said in an interview that this was I got chills when I read this part. When you said that this was your experience in the film industry, we talk a lot about Me Too, but what you went through wasn't sexual violence necessarily from the higher ups, but it was such a harassment and bullying and abusive thing that this film came out of being abused in an industry that operates just like the fucking mafia. So can you talk about that? Because like that interview blew my mind, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta ask you about that.
Yeah, no, I had just come off of Summer of Sam, was one of my first really big movies with Spike Lee, and after that, I think I was 24, and I, grew up Brooklyn and Staten Island. I had nothing, knew no one in the business. I put myself through acting school, moved out of my house at 18, like all the things that you hear, I did. So, I was going to acting school during the day, waiting tables all night, like, paying the dues, fine with it. Like I didn't grow up rich. I didn't, and I just knew I wanted to do this. So I started to work, and then I got this Summer Sam with Spike Lee, and it was just like it was like, one of the most amazing experiences. Um, and after that, I kind of exploded.
Yeah, you kind of got launched into a whole new level.
Like in a a slingshot to Hollywood, and I was offered two different very very big roles with very big producers, and there was one director that I really wanted to work with, like a real filmmaker, and the producer on that and him were fighting, and he's a notorious. They made a movie about this man. He's a notorious. He's a notorious, like throwing assistants out of cars, moving car, like notorious. And I was told just just keep your head down. It's like 24-year-old from Brooklyn. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, isn't this just a job of an actor?
Yeah, I just want to do my job. What is all this?
It's like, that's why I honestly, a little sidebar, that's why I teach now, is because I love the art and the craft and all of that. But there's a whole big learning curve about the business. That's a whole other thing that really you need to be educated on, and I wasn't. And I had no protection.
Yeah.
So when the person, I became in between of their fire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like a triangulated thing.
And the producer wanted someone else. He was like, she's too glamorous. It was like, huh? What? Let me act. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so it went to the point where I was getting calls at home, and it was threats constantly. Like, if you don't get to the set in 10 minutes, you're fired. It was like, but I'm not supposed to work today. I wasn't on the call sheet. I know we're gonna have you for off camera lines, and from being crew, like that doesn't even make sense, really. It's like, okay. And I'd run there, I'd call my manager on the way, and she's like, just do whatever he wants. Like, is anybody gonna step in here? It was really bad. And yeah, it was really, and
especially with your name not even on the call sheet. Like the for people who aren't in the industry, like this is like a whole. It is like the craziest puzzle in the world to figure out every day a call sheet. I've never been on a set where someone showed up that was not on that call sheet, because even to get across town, you can't get anywhere in 10 minutes. So then you look like the bad guy when
holding
so much has to, like, that's
now,
ridiculous.
It was also plotted and planned, because what we found out after is he was trying to get this other person and made a deal with this other person. And basically then I was fired, and I had lost this other big movie. And I'd never been fired from anything in my life. I've been working since I'm 13, just jobs. And the level of abuse I can't really explain, but what happened after was like, I had gotten a role in the next, like, it was like 3 weeks later, like one of the most coveted roles that was out there for young women at the time. And I was ready to get the offer, and suddenly everything stopped, and it was like I just felt it in my bones. I was like, what's happening? And basically he had called the person who was in charge of that movie, big thing, big place, and said, don't hire her. She locked herself in a room. She was a drug addict, like never taken a drug in my life. Like, I have no reason to lie at this point. And he destroyed my career. basically. He destroyed. My managers dropped me, my agent dropped me, and basically it was we can't go up against him. We have clients that, because I was like, we have to, like, what do we do? And they were like, we have clients that have to work with him, which I get, but really, wow, okay, so I was done for. I was done for. So it's so wild, because you see actors come in and they explode and then they disappear for some reason. There's always a reason. And it was not for 3 years that I was able to work again, but it was never where I was headed. And to this day, it's like it's like an X on my back. And at a certain point in my career, I really, I'm skimming over how traumatizing this all was.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because I don't believe anybody has any right to take away my fucking life. Like, you don't have that right, and you did. And you put my road in a different direction. However, if I didn't go through the absolute trauma that I did with the situation, I would have never wrote Fresh Kills. I would have never wrote it, because I wrote it for the kid, the 24-year-old in me, that was fucked. I wrote it for her, to give her the opportunity to do what I knew she could do without anybody getting in her way. I wrote it for her. And that's why when you're saying the movie has nothing to do with Mafia. It has to do with finding a voice in a world that tells you not to have one. That's what the movie's about. And people always ask me, who are you? Are you Rose? Are you Connie? I'm like, I'm both. Who I really am is Rose. Who I had to become is Connie. So
yeah, Glenn, you've talked about how you can actually see yourself in all of the women, because, like, I mean, that's why I talk about, like, the pick me spectrum, because there is no one that you cannot escape the brainwashing of, and the survival mechanisms of it, and to, like, protect your child. The moms will push their daughters into the worst things for them, but it's like security or what you do, and don't make me look bad, and blah blah blah. And so I love how you talk about, because you've also talked about how when you with the mob movies, or like, you grew up, your family wasn't in it, but you grew up around it.
yes.
And you always wondered where that rage, like, why the girls were so angry and where that rage is coming from. So then what I just lost her name, for Connie. Is it Connie? She's
Yes.
I mean, those were brutal scenes. I was like, dang, she's like a fighter. Like, she could kill someone with those fists. And I had no idea that this is what was behind that, is after your experience in Hollywood. And I mean, honestly, I hate that they haven't talked about this, because we hear, I mean, like Julia Ormond, like, there was all these actresses where people were like, where'd they go? And then people find out 10 years later, oh, it was Weinstein or someone else. But I don't think I've ever heard an actress tell this story. And this is, it still ruined your career. It was harassment. It was stalking, bullying,
the time.
Lying
It's happening today. It happens today. It happens constantly. I mean, look where we are in the world, and how many do you really see speaking up and out? There's rules, there's places that, you're either gonna do your job and shut up, or you're not getting a job. And it's just the way it is. And I get it. Everybody has to make a living, and I completely understand. I just don't know at a certain point what's the limit. What's the limit of, like, what we're gonna allow? So
well, it's funny because even though I was doing comedy and storytelling and, like, performing stuff, like, I was never really wanted to be an actor. I always kind of knew storytelling stuff was my thing. But all the people I went to school with at the Upright Citizens Brigade, they were all in the, like, actor, trajectory. And so I'm friends with people who are on the call sheet, but then I worked on crew. And
hardest place.
Crew people get blacklisted all the time too.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And there's, like, people always compare the film industry to the military, And I
Mhm.
think it's a really good comparison. And the military, as we know, like, I mean, Cult Lady talks about it all the time, like, pretty much, it's pretty not a guarantee, but a woman in the military very likely to get, raped by one of her fellow coworkers or whatever. And
Wow.
and
That's
it's because it's
crazy.
this hierarchical boys club. Women should, well, everyone should feel so grateful for being able to work in the industry. Like, that's the whole thing, is like,
Well,
work
that's the
15 hours. Yeah,
line.
it's
That's
like
the line. That's
uh,
the line with Rose at the end where she says, I know, I'm supposed to be grateful for every last piece of it. Well, I'm not. Where's
mm-hmm,
the respect for my life? I mean, literally, I could recite the entire last scene in the movie because it is me speaking. It is
yeah,
me speaking. It is like, yeah, that is pulled from my chest,
mm-hmm.
basically. Yeah.
And it kind of, it's like when it's like I've been so radicalized in the last couple years because my mutuals on TikTok mostly, but in terms of my feminism, so I didn't know how to explain what I was going through when I was in the
Yeah.
boys clubs of the film industry, the comedy world, the outdoor adventure world, all that stuff. But I was a total cool girl, man. I did,
Hmm.
I was the one, like the fun person, the girl that everyone could talk to about stuff, but I kind of made myself like as like not sexual so that they wouldn't want to fork me, but then they also ended up doing that, trying to do anyway, whatever. And so I adapted, and I judged myself for a long time for being one of the boys, but I'm like, how the hell else was I supposed to navigate that industry?
But that's again, we're brought up to feel that way. We're brought, like, that's my podcast is all about conditioning, and we're
Hmm.
brought up in this cycle of like, pick me, choose me, because me, as just me as a female, there is no identity other than through the man. And it's mind blowing to me. And I
Hmm.
was in it as well. And I think once you then see it, then you can unsee it, and
Hmm.
everything shifts.
Yeah.
Everything shifts. But everything from the time we're born. Here's your
Hmm.
pink hat. You have to sit like this. You have to, be quiet. Don't say that. You don't want to, offend this one. It's endless. It's
Hmm.
endless.
Yep.
So, it's a lot to unpack. So of course you did that. But for me, I was constantly trying to be less. I was always told, "Oh, she's a lot, too much, too ethnic, too this, too that." So I was like blonde and like trying to speak very properly because
Yeah.
somehow New York was ethnic and I wasn't white enough, but I wasn't Latin, I was constantly trying to like, "Oh, hi, good morning," and nothing I did was ever correct. And
Hmm.
that is one hell of a tightly wound pretzel you try to get yourself in until one day I realized, like, it's not happening. You're fooling no one. And I
Hmm.
and I don't like you.
Yeah,
Who
that's
is
the
this
worst part.
person?
I'm like,
Who is this?
God, who is this person? This
Yeah.
self-abandoning, pathetic, pick me, like laughing at jokes that aren't funny, and not only laughing, making worse jokes. Because I
Oh,
can outman a man any day, man. I've been
right.
around them so long.
Right.
My jokes are sicker, nastier, and I'm quick, right? So I'd be like, "Pah," and they'd be like, "Whoa, Mel," and I'm like, like,
That's it.
I gotta do it so you leave me alone. And
And so
they
and
still harass
that's
me.
very true. It's so you leave me alone. I can literally I was on a set recently and a friend of mine was with me and was amazed at still the balls you have to keep in the air,
Mhm,
so to speak. But
mhm,
the like, the things you have to juggle. And she was like, I don't understand how you did this for years. I was like, and this is me knowing the playing field, knowing how this works. Like, you just like, uh-huh, yeah, yeah, and you just play the game,
mhm,
do your work, yes, smile, and go home. But
mhm.
it's tough. It is. It's tough.
Luckily, I did have a couple mentors. Like, there was a production designer towards the end of before I decided I just want to like write and do this, because working on set as crew, you're never gonna be above the line. You're never going to be a writer, director, or anything else because you're working 16-hour days, often 12 to 16-hour days. Who has time to write? You don't have time to do laundry.
Yeah.
So before I got out of the industry and started, waiting tables again and writing and doing whatever for money, I did have one production designer, and I was like, that is who I want to be, because she knew how to deal with those men's egos and get what she want, and she just wrote that line of like not putting up with stuff, but she didn't self-abandon to do it. So at least I got
awesome. That's nice.
But also she's still a woman in the industry, so she had to do so much emotional labor to like. And just if you grew up with a dad who you had to tiptoe around and like massage the ego of, then you end up in an industry full of those. You're like, well, first of all, you're like, hey, I am an expert at this. I can get you to do anything because I know how to get my needs met by talking to your ego. And you're like, why do I have to do this?
It really is and again, this is why I teach, because it's acting, it's writing workshops, but it's so much more than that. And the community that I've started with pretty much all women. Sometimes we have men in the class and it's fine, but it's primarily women, and it's all of these things. Like, for instance, I'm teaching a class in person right now in New York, and there's an exercise I did with them when they're working on these monologues, and some of them are actors, some of them are not, and they wanted to just take this class. And I said, okay, you're going to be doing this monologue to someone, and it's after a relaxation, and they're just sitting in a chair, no one's watching them, they're all doing it at the same time, they're quiet, no one is watching them but me. And I said, okay, the person that you have unfinished business with, that you want to say something to that you never got to say, just walked in, they're going to sit down in front of you and just say the monologue. The amount, I can't, they go, like, it's so sad to me. And who's cringing, and who's like trying to say it in a nice way, and who like starts to cry, and like, I so it's much more than the acting and the writing. I push them to allow themselves space to just be. Just be. And they can't even do that. It's like, no, just be. There's one girl who literally every time she gets uncomfortable, she's laughing.
I used to be that girl.
And we started to unpack it, and it was because it was because she had so much abuse that she didn't know what to do, and she'd just laugh, and it was like, but do you realize you don't have to laugh anymore? Like, didn't realize that. And you see the layers start to come off, and there's this person there that's looking at you like, wow, no one's ever said that to me before. And it's like, yes, you're allowed to not, you don't have to laugh. You don't have to laugh anymore if you don't think it's funny. And it's really powerful. So, yeah, I think we all have a job to do to help one another, no matter what it is. And I feel really passionate about helping females in all of it, not even in the industry, in all of it, because I feel like I've been through a lot of stuff, and for some reason have always been able to get back up on my feet. So I feel like I have, and to be honest, the reason why I also do it is because I didn't have a mentor, and and the amount of women that really could have helped me at times and chose not to, very painful. So so I make sure I try to not be that.
Yeah. Well, so in the description for anybody who wants to look at it, there is, and maybe I'll put in the comments at the end the link to your website. And one of the things, when I was looking at it, I was like, this is super cool, because my creativity is how you heal trauma.
Agree, 1000%. My whole everything is based on this.
And everything. If you are not, if you like, I tried. I mean, it's not that I wasn't doing creative stuff, but I was doing like weird, videos, blah, blah, blah. I was doing, improv and stuff. But even my improv sucked because they were like, you don't know how to get mad. I couldn't honestly react in any improv scene as angry because I never let myself get angry.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, dang it. So I had to work on that. And then like luckily or what I mean, I ended up I hate to even say this word because some people get traumatized by it, but I got bed bugs when I was in New York, and that
Mm,
triggered all of this trauma from my childhood of what had happened to me while I
wow.
was asleep.
Oh,
And that it was the worst time of my life, but my creativity was like Pandora's box of like awful stuff I got to deal with came out, and also like rainbows of creativity, like endless creativity, and
that's
that's when I
right.
actually started to find myself
There you
because
go.
it was all out there
There you
and
go.
learned like through improvising through storytelling especially like I tried to do improv for so long and then everyone was like you every improv scene my team was like every improv scene you always do the monologue and your monologues aren't all true and they're crazy. And I was like, yeah, all my scenes are based on real stories. And they're like, yeah, have you noticed ours are like going to space and dinosaurs? Like yours, every single character that you initiate is someone you've met. And I was like, they're like, why are you in the thing where you make stuff up when your life is a gold mine? And I was like, that's pretty. And then I went to the moth and like won almost
Oh,
immediately.
that's
And that's when I
awesome.
was like, okay, this is my thing. But if
That's
you don't
awesome.
know your story and aren't willing to go backwards and deep into it, then your storytelling is going to suck. It's not going to be honest,
No, no. Well,
you know?
all art, comes from a place of pain. I always say,
Mhm.
and joy and big emotions. I always say to anyone in my writing classes that I do this other thing called the I'm sorry monologues, and it's women writing their I'm sorry to themselves or the sorry they never got, and I put it up on stage in New York, and it's been such a thing for me because art saves my life
Yeah,
every single day. It's in the
exactly.
writing. I don't know what I did before the writing. Like I don't know what I did, but like it really, really does, and it really is a way to know yourself. But it's also a way to connect on a like. I will say, Fresh Kills was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do
I
for
bet.
so many reasons. For
Mhm.
so many reasons, but it single-handedly was the number one thing. It changed me on a cellular level,
Mhm.
literally on a cellular level that no one can touch. So
Mhm.
they can hide the movie, they can push it aside. I know what I did, and it'll never be something I look at and think anything less of. Good for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I believe that it's going to be one of these like later what do you
Oh,
cult classics, you know, like
I
so many
hope.
movies
I
like it's
hope.
like a year or two later that blows up. That's what I'm pushing for because here's the thing I didn't put this together until I read that interview about it. It's almost like you were doing parts work like
I was doing
IFS
what?
parts work. Have you know IFS therapy? Have you ever heard of that where you like you talk to it's like you're dealing with all the different parts of you. There's like
Yeah.
yeah, I have like a rebellious little bitch in me and then I have like I have all these different characters and they
Yeah.
contradict each other too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're all like because we're all complex human beings and we're
Yes.
walking contradictions. And it's you said you could see yourself in all these characters, and it was like you gave a voice to all like the angry, the rageful girl, you know, the mom, like all of them. I love that because in that could I could see how that could be so healing because I
Yeah.
actually ended up doing it with my puppets in some of my videos
I
where people
love
are like,
that.
she's doing IFS with puppets. And I was like, well, I'll be damned, I am.
I remember coming across your feed one time being like, she's nuts. I love her. She's saying it all. No, it's true. You were speaking and the way you did it, it was like really clear and very honest and very needed.
Hmm.
There's not many women that really get out there and speak really. But also they don't many I used to feel like angry, like, why? Come on, ladies, get together. And I think many still don't see it. They
Hmm.
really don't see it. Many do, and they choose to be closer to proximity to power. Okay. But many don't. They
Hmm.
don't. They still don't see it. And it and I say that with about men as well. Like I think yes, absolutely. Some are whatever. But I do believe, listen, when you've had, everything at your feet your whole life, why would you know any different? Why would you know any different when things are just easy? Like when a male filmmaker tells me, yeah, well, we all have to pay our dues. It's like, dude, listen, our dues are different. I'm telling you, because if I was a dude and made fresh kills, I would be in a different place. I know that as well as I know my name. Please don't argue with me on that. You know why? Because you don't know what it's like to be female in this industry, in this world. So you can't speak on it. Just like I can't speak what it's like to be a Black woman. I cannot speak on that. So you cannot speak on that. So they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. Doesn't excuse anything, but they don't.
Yeah. It's like what I was thinking about just a minute ago was like when you were describing how you are trying to do this and that. And this is also for people who might be interested. Like, I want, especially women, because a lot of times we're so exhausted by all of the labor that we do free for men and whatever, that we don't even have time for creativity. And not only is it healing, but also like I want people to do it not with the goal of monetizing, but just out of the joy and the need and the self-discovery, which is so like so in your workshops and your coaching and stuff. Like, I help people who don't necessarily want to be an actor or want to be whatever.
Exactly.
Like, it's more about getting to know yourself. Because I tell you what,
right.
all of us, this is not to diminish acting, but I didn't think I was an actor. I'd done all this, whatever. In the improv scene, I could do okay. But when I dated that man who almost murdered me when I was in New Mexico, I did an Oscar level performance that last meal where I had to pretend that I loved him while my friend was getting my shit out of his car. Wow. And like, I remember being like, I can't believe I'm pulling this off so well. Wow. My breathing, my facial expression, I was like, I just need to get out of this town. That, like I had to convince him that everything's good, man. And I was split in town that day. And my insides, my heart, everything, but I was calm as a kid. And I was like, how many of us don't do that every day? Even if haven't been in violence. I see women sometimes and they'll just be like this, and then they'll be like, and they'll be like, oh crap, I stopped acting for a second. I stopped performing.
I know.
So we all do it all the time. Why not 100%. Use it to be in a like crazy way and to be in touch with your anger, in touch with the what I like to do is liberate women, because I grew up in the South. Right? Like purity culture, like, like white purity culture, good girl, all that crap. So for me to be just like, like unhinged is such an act of rebellion, but that's actually who I've always been. It took me a lot of steps to get to that point.
Yep.
Where I am not and I think I didn't know I could be certain things until I saw role models for that. I didn't know that I could be a production designer until I saw a production designer, a director, a producer, all that stuff. And so, so it's funny because on your podcast, one of the last episodes, you were just like in the worst mood, kind of, and you're like just owned it. You know what I
mean? Like 100%. I don't try and be anything else these days. I did that for far too long. That's not what I do anymore. If you don't like who I am, okay, God bless. Like there's absolutely zero room anymore at all. Yeah. I don't walk around like an asshole. God knows. Yeah,
exactly.
There's no room for, and honestly, I feel that I'm received actually better anywhere, because it's just my energy is a little bit I think it just is what it is. I'm not trying to be what you want, because you'll never get that right on any front. So I'm just not interested in being in rooms like that anymore. I'm not interested in me being like that anymore. I'm just not interested.
Like just being contained in this, and it's funny because I didn't realize until like Anthony came to the South with me and he saw how I acted in front of my mom, because it's my default, man. I just went right back.
Right.
And he was like, "Where did you go?"
Wow,
He was like,
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's great. That's wild. I get that. I get that.
And he was like, but he even said, he was like, "This feels like being here in this house with this energy and this weird quiet, this like violent quietness. Like it feels like I have to wear a straitjacket." And I was like, "That's exactly what it is." And so I love, just through example, showing what it's like to not wear the straitjacket.
That's right. That's right.
I didn't realize. And then every once in a while, I don't know if you get this, but every once in a while, it's like someone's like, "You screech so much. Dye your hair. Blah blah blah. You're too loud."
You have to watch more podcasts, because I talk about Nancy all the time. I had this woman. She comes in all the time on my social. Can you just brush your hair? Why are you yelling? And I answer her, I'm like, "Nancy, you and I don't think we're in love. I promise you, I'm never brushing my hair, Nancy. I'm never doing it. Never. I'm sorry." And then the yelling on the podcast, she made a comment about that, and my hair was curly. I was like, "Nancy, you and I, we're just not friends, and that's
okay."
okay.
Is this the same
you don't
person?
have to listen." No, it was some woman, but I called her Nancy.
Yeah, but it's
Karen's
the same
sister.
thing.
It's Karen's sister. She said to me at one point, "Why can you just never be happy?" It's like, because the world's on fire, Nancy. That's why. Like, Nancy, I know who you are, Nancy. Karen's your sister. You're both voting.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, it's that inner cop of the Karen. The way we have that little cop in us, and so I get it in my comments all the time. "Why are you so loud?" I'm like, "Loud!" Like just exploding that.
It's so true. It's like, how about stop policing each other? Ladies, let's just start on that. Let her be her, I'll be me, and let's start there. Once we can get the infighting, maybe then we can tackle the patriarchy. But we're our worst enemy, and I really believe that. The patriarchy, yes, got it. It's awful, but it's set up, and guess what? The more you keep allowing it to shift you and hurt your friend and your sister and your mother and your kids, you are part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what I love.
Are a big problem, unfortunately.
That is one of the things I love so much about Fresh Kills, because I could talk about men sucking all day long, but I'm never going to not talk about the women who enable the men who suck, and the women who protect the men who suck, and the women who throw you into the arms of the violent men and then pretend like they don't know. They're just as dangerous. So I love that Fresh Kills addresses that. And that, I think,
from the mother.
Yeah, exactly.
And that I know about this, and there's 3 other projects that I'm writing at one time. It all has elements of that, because it's very important to me. It's and again, I don't think it's of like, ooh, it's this planned twirly mustache kind of evil. I think it's like, why her, not me? I didn't get the chance to do what she's doing, so I have to be here. She has to be here, and I think it's a thing that they don't even realize.
Yes, misery loves company. Misery loves company. They're like, "Hey, I self-abandoned at every single opportunity. I gave up everything. I'm a martyr. Why aren't you?" It's not fair. But and the reason why I know that is because that's how I used to operate. I was so jealous of slutty women. I was like, and then I was like, I didn't realize it was jealousy. And then I was like, but they seem like they're having fun, not like the ones who are just like centering their pleasure and stuff. And then once I became that bitch, I was like, hell yeah, I love my life. And then I have some empathy for the women who try to slut shame me, because I'm like, hey, I know where that's coming from. but it's not doing what you think it is.
But just think about what you said, and as aware as you are, still, like not slut, because someone chooses to have multiple partners. Who cares? That is put on us again. Another thing of like, be you. You don't hear that about a dude ever. We
I'm owning that word because I'm a proud.
She's a slut. It's like, what the hell, man? In my neighborhood, she's a hooah. I was like, hooah. She's a hooah. It was like, oh my God. It was just really sad.
So I want to, because I know you don't have a whole lot of time, so I'll make sure we go over everything everyone talk about. So leading up to why I want to talk about what you're creating now, to help women not have to depend on the financing of men and the power of men and the rules of men. Can you also just hit on, so once you got the film made, which it set like you worked on this for like 10 to 15 years on and off.
Long.
And then it took you a long time. You had men who finally read the script, but they wouldn't get behind it, put the money behind it unless a man directed it. You had can you just inform people, because I don't think people understand how hard it is for female directors specifically to get anything made. Can you give some examples of what you're up against and why you've decided to just be like, I'm like tired of this?
Yeah, I mean, look, there was a recent article. I think it was the Ankler, the 4% is 4% of anything directed is that's what that's females, is 4% of what's being directed. If we don't direct the thing, then you're not seeing usually the story. And even if the the story may be a female lead, it's still centered around a man, and that's not a female driven story. And to even say that is annoying, because a good story is a good story. The men that loved Fresh Kills was, I would have tons of men waiting to speak to me about Fresh Kills after film festivals. Donnie Wahlberg, when I showed him the movie, he had tears in his eyes, and he's like, I was Rose. I didn't want to be that tough kid. And I was pushed to be that tough kid. And it's like, it's called being a human being. It has nothing to do with being a female story, a male story. But unfortunately, I mean, listen, the business needs such a reboot. But getting funding on every level is literally almost impossible. And for me, I was a first-time director, writer, and I was also very neatly placed in the boxes they wanted me, and like sending me off to, the old ladies island, because I was past 30. And it was like, oh shit, she wants to do what with what? How sweet. And like, yeah, pat her on the head. I couldn't get anyone to read it. And then, agents like, well, I'm not going to have my actor directed by her, not knowing my full history of work, and like, they just know me from one TV show. Like, but then also, now being attached to direct 3 different projects. One of them has an Oscar winner that saw my movie, and we met, and she's like an idol of mine, and she signed on because she watched the movie. She was the first one of the offers we went out to that watched the movie. Everyone else who didn't, they're like, pass. Like, and women, stop doing that. Take a minute. Like, take a minute. And it was like, oh, her? I actually had an actress that I loved that I went to for Fresh Kills for a role. And she literally said to me, why should I sign on this for you? I have something that I want to write and direct. Why should I help you? And I thought, and there we go.
You're like, scarcity mindset.
That means you can't? Like, it's so deep. It's so deep. God bless. Go do it. I don't understand how. Anyway, so my point is, men and women right now trying to cast with, like I said, this thing I'm attached to direct, having trouble getting money with an Oscar winner attached, and trying to get other people on board, and like, to sign on to a female-led in the driver's seat of the director, to have them sign on and trust a second feature.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather go and do a first feature by an unknown man because somehow they're trusted more. It's like, guys, if you want things to change, you have to change the behavior, and it doesn't change. So like I said, I have these 3 things that I'm attached to, and we're going to keep pushing, and eventually we're going to make them. But I decided, I was like, again, I found myself waiting because it's been a minute from Fresh Kills being filmed. A lot of PTSD from the trauma of it being so hidden, and still it's being held hostage by sales and by distribution. That's a whole other story. But I just thought, there's got to be another way. So there's a new, really exciting community called Non-D, NON, capital DE, started by Ted Hope, who is, like the godfather of real independent films back in the day. And it started on Substack, and now it's like hitting around the world, and there's a really great movement happening, and it's literally sharing resources, sharing knowledge, and it's non-D because it's non-dependent. It's not independent. It's non-dependent on anything for funding, distribution, any of it. So there's something that I've been working on, and I thought, this is the project to do this in, and I'm literally gonna make it for nothing. I'm gonna steal shots. I'm gonna put myself in the lead so I don't need to get paid. I'm gonna cast it with actor friends. I already called someone else who does micro budgets, and we're like, let's go. I'm not waiting. I'm gonna do a crowdfunding, and I hope everybody comes along and can put what they can in, because it's not about me. It's not about an individual movie. It's about the voice of not only females, but of human beings. We are not seeing the stories that speak to us as human beings. No one wants to see the big movie stars anymore. We're over it. We want to see stories about real people that touch us, that move us. Because if you realize the amount of suppression and oppression on artists and taking art away, what happens when you do that? You're controlling the narrative of a culture, and that's what's trying to happen right now. We can't let that happen. So this is much more than a film. This is a movement that, just like when I always say, you need to shop local, shop thrift, shop, because there's the big powers that be on every front, and then there's everyone else. If you are the one saying, I liked what Jennifer did with Fresh Kills, I'm going to give my $10. Know that I'm going to be employing some people. No, none of us are going to be making a ton of money. I'm going to make nothing. But I'm going to give you something back that you actually can see and go, I see that. I feel that. I like that. That's the culture I want to be in. That's what I want to see in my world. Then seeing the same 5 people make the same big thing, and everybody's so shocked, like, none of these big movies worth $55 billion are making any money. No, because nobody cares anymore to keep putting money into your billionaire pockets. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You want to see things that touch you. Fresh Kills was about a family, a broken family, and a young woman deciding, I need a voice of my own. And no matter what that I go against, I'm going to do it. And it resonated. And that's the next movie I want to make, is something just as heart-driven. And I'm going to make it on a shoestring because, I mortgaged my house to make the last one, and I don't have any more houses. I don't have any more money. I got nothing left. So everyone who's here, rebelcollective.com is my website. Please put your email in there. The movie is called Mary Rides the F Train. That's the one that we're working on. And it's really fun, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm casting it the way I have to. I want to cast it, and I would never be able to do that. Never. I'd be like, oh, get Nicole Kidman. Like, I'm not getting Nicole Kidman. You can't get Nicole First of all, she's booked through.
She's also busy dealing with her little hobo.
Like, but this is like I have an actor who like has some history, who was like changed her life out of being like on the street and like broken and like changed her friggin' life. She's got the depth to do what I'm needing her to do, and she'd never get this role in a normal circumstance. Never. I just fell over. But my point is, she would never get this role, and that's just not okay with me. We need to cast who's right and like, make the things that matter. So a Rebel Collective, go leave your email, be starting a GoFundMe or Seed and Spark, whatever the hell. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep making my own shit.
I mean, this is what, when I think about this, like, I talk all this stuff, decent men, and then I'm like, okay, how can I level up in that area in my personal life? So, for instance, I took an inventory of who I follow, right? I follow every once in a while. I'll follow a man if they've got something really interesting to learn. But like I need to follow more women. Listen, I always give the example that Harvey, whatever his butt's name is, he has this millions of followers, mostly women who listen to him talk about domestic violence. I'm like, fuck off. That's not your story. If anything, you are the abuser and you're just whatever. And so when I think about how I spend my money, I'm like, I want to feel good about where it goes. And obviously recession and where we're doing, like, we have limited money, but if you actually pay attention to where it goes. And an example like Broad City with Abby and Alana, like I did improv with them. They like we were kind of a freshman class at the UCB, blah blah blah. And then when they wanted to do like a pilot or whatever for that, they crowdsourced that. I contributed to that, and then Amy Poehler picked it up, and then their careers took off. But it had to come from the community, the people. And they 100%. Kept trying to like get on a Herald team and do like they have their own story, and I don't have like I'm not going to tell their story from them. They've told it before, but they realized they wanted to do this thing, this weird kind of whatever, and they were tired. They didn't fit in the box, and so they just leaned on their community, and it felt so good to be a part of that.
That's right. That's right. Most of us don't fit in the box, and that's the money, the places where you need to put your money, your time, because otherwise it's bleak and it's nothing that you even want to see anymore. It really isn't. So I agree. Supporting, and like I said, it's really so much more than a movie or supporting a person. It's supporting a different way of life, because we've gone off the deep end as far as like who gets to have health care, who gets to have rights, who gets to have, because the rules don't apply way at the top for the same as the people in the middle and the bottom. So it's just really thinking like, okay, I'm gonna put my money here and support things that I believe in.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're in now. Like people are realizing that, oh wow, things are getting worse, and we're like, mutual aid, community building, like all that stuff. And even, it's an attention economy. It's people those of y'all who are here right now, you're doing the thing we're asking about. You could be like watching some dude just making fart jokes and dumb humor and pranks and stuff, but you're here supporting us talking about feminism and filmmaking, you know what I mean? So thank y'all. But
thank you.
Is there I know that you're on a tight deadline, but can you tell people what your asks are? So obviously can you say all of, because it's a podcast, you have this workshops, you have so much. Can you just tell everyone what to do?
If you go to rebelcollective.com, you'll find everything there. The podcast is Rebellious. You'll find that there. You'll find all about my classes there, and you'll find there's a page of Mary Rides the F Train. But really, the important is putting your email down so you'll know what's coming up and when and how to help and how to get involved. And if you're interested in a class, and there's merch and a whole bunch of stuff, and every single thing that I make on there, it goes to making good art and employing people.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And the plug for the email list, like I personally hate being on email lists. I'm always like, no. But then I realized, like, I unsubscribed from ones that I'm like, why did I ever get on this? Who put me on this? But they are so important, as I learned.
They are.
I had, I was shadow banned for like a year and a half on TikTok, and
I think I still am.
Yeah, I came out of it for a bit, but then I got a community guideline violation for unoriginal content, and now I'm back at, like, it's so annoying. But what I realized is that's when I started Patreon, because I was like, I hate that they control my access to people who like my work. All they got to do is shadow ban me. The algorithms have so much control of my life. So that Patreon, by the way, my Patreon, like, there's a free tier, and that's just to keep up with me, so I can, like, reach y'all when I have stuff that I want to share. And then also Patreon people who support me and keep me going. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But the email lists are important because we don't have access to people who like our stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Like I did posted something about my podcast today on TikTok, and was like, someone wrote, "This is the first time I've seen you on my For You page in ages," and it's like every time. I don't know if you've been on my thing. Like I just sing now because I gotta get the insanity out. So like I'll take a spatula and sing. And when I tell you, every single time I post one, I get a violation every single time, and I go through the process of like, how is this violating? And then they come back like, oh, it's dismissed. It's like, really? Whatever.
Yeah, I've been doing these weird songs lately. There are comment songs at the end of all my YouTube videos, but then I started posting them individually because they're just so unhinged. They called that an unoriginal. I'm like, and so I wrote this, like, scathing, reply being like, how dare you call it? I made up this song. I improvised it. Like, I'm doing musical. What are you talking about? People post whole ass episodes of Law and Order on this fucking app, and they don't get violations. Like, what are you talking? So this is what I realized, is that, like, the algorithms, they can put you in, like, they can do what that producer did to you.
But that's exactly it. That's why I'm asking people to give me their email, because otherwise you'll never see me again.
And when people are like, they do that to me all the time, every day on TikTok, I get a comment, "Oh my God, where have you been?" I'm like, look at my page. There's 500 videos that no one's seen, and it's like,
so
oh my
upsetting.
God.
It really
that is why it's important. It's like, I used to be like, email list, and then I was like, that is how I stay connected to the people who appreciate my stuff and want to see it.
Right.
So anyway,
that's right.
So go.
If there's any questions, do you want to get to questions?
Yeah. I don't know if you had time, because I know you have to go in a little bit. But if anybody has any questions, real quick. So also, you have your podcast. It's on Instagram. It's also on TikTok. Can you tell the handles of all this really quick?
Yes. Oh God, I'm gonna be in trouble. J Esposito on Instagram. TikTok, I think it's J Esposito too, or Jen Esposito. I'm dancing.
I think Instagram is J. Oh wait, actually,
J Esposito, and then
J Esposito.
And then Rebellious, I think, _ podcast.
Oh yeah, Sarah's got you. Sarah's writing it down there.
Please do it, please, because God knows.
Actually, people have been throughout this whole thing. Moderators, especially, people have been keep mentioning.
Fantastic! I really appreciate it, moderators. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
but a Rebel Collective, you'll find everything's there. Everything, all the social handles, all the all the stuff you have to do besides create the thing. It's crazy. It really, really is.
I'm like, first of all, I am not an accountant. Okay,
no,
I don't know how to do my taxes. I don't know how to market myself. I'm like, it's so funny because I'm not a shy person, but I feel like my whole burden story of, like, I'm a burden, it comes out when I need to promote my stuff, which is one reason why I'm awful at it.
I know I'm not great at it. I'm not great at it either.
So Ebony Joy Vibe, or Ebony has a question. Where can I get that?
Go to Rebel Collective. There's more. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. Not only is there's hats there, but honestly, and I just put this up, my first draft of Fresh Kills. So
Oh.
if you loved the movie, to read the first draft, there's a world that Connie and Rose go down, a different ending, a
Oh.
different beginning, like that. It's really fun to read. It was fun for me to read because you know the characters now, so it's like they live.
Yeah.
And so the script is there. The final script, the shooting draft is there. I'm gonna put up soon a director's cut. It will be there. There's merch for this, and then we're gonna have a whole bunch of other stuff coming out. And like I said, every bit of whatever I get from there is gonna go to this new movie.
But also, I think word of mouth is so important. Not just word of mouth, like in real life, but also, just put on an Instagram story. I saw this movie. It's amazing. Like that is literally you have to get
Honestly,
it out there.
the amounts of people that did that when this movie came out, one of them being Rosie O'Donnell, that I didn't know Rosie, and someone sent like Rosie, you have to see Jennifer's movie, and she made a post about Fresh Kills that blew up, and I couldn't have been more thankful. And she just came on my podcast. Like, you never really know what you do for someone, and she really really helped me push it, because like you said, I still speak to people and they're like, "Oh, you did a movie?"
Yeah. You're like,
I literally
that's
want to
like
throw
you having
myself
a
on the
10-year-old
ground.
child and them being like, you have kids? And you're like, did you miss where the hell have you been? But it's
It's
like, well,
really upsetting. It's really upsetting. It's really upsetting.
Okay, there's one more question. Is there any jobs in the film industry that can be done remotely? I'm disabled and I just left LA.
I mean, I'm sure maybe something with casting or
But like entry level jobs, especially, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you know where people could go to look for those?
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm awful
Yeah,
at
actually,
that.
that's probably a question for me because I'm in more like the crew thing. But I don't have to think about that, honestly. It's a good
I
question
don't
though.
know. It is a good question. Someone said, oh, Fresh Kills is on Amazon Prime and on Hulu, and yeah, I'd love for you to watch it. And if it speaks to you, talk about it on social, like you just said. Everything helps. Still making people learn about the movie.
Yeah, like so Leslie just said it's the best movie I've seen this year. I like
Oh,
literally
thank you.
I wish you could have been at our watch party. I didn't expect you to come obviously, but I was like I want to watch this with people. Like a lot of
Yes.
people hate watch movies sometimes because I
Yeah.
can't suffer through this alone. I need to make fun
Yep.
of it. But
Yep. Yep.
I also I don't like to watch something that hits me by myself because I need to like
Yeah.
share in that
Yeah.
profound experience.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
have to
we loved
say,
it.
seeing that movie in a theater,
Hmm.
when I went to the tons of film festivals, and it was out in this theater in New York on 42nd Street for a week and a half, and I can't even tell you what it's like watching it with people in the theater. When certain things happen, people are screaming, they're laughing, they're crying. It was really amazing. I actually had a young woman write me after the lights were going down in the theater. She actually put it on her socials, and she was sobbing, and she was just filming herself watching the credits, and then she said, and Jodie Foster was sitting next to me and was crying, and it was just like,
Oh wow.
yeah, it was really, really,
Oh my
really
God.
cool.
I can't imagine. I mean, I know a movie is much different. I can't imagine a hell worse than me having to sit in a room watching people watch me.
And you know what's so funny? I don't. It's so not me. Like,
Yeah.
that is so not me.
Yeah.
But to see them connect to something that you wrote,
Yeah.
the magic was something like just to connect to people and make them think
Yeah.
and feel, and it was
Yeah. Like, were
magic.
you just like instead like if it were me, it's like instead of watching the movie, I'd probably just be scanning the audience the
Oh,
whole
I
time.
used to take a minute. I used to take every screening, and there were a lot. I would go to the bathroom and then stand in the back of the theater
Yeah.
and just watch people's reactions and just
Hmm.
feel and be present, because it was such an enormous thing to get done. So I would make sure I took it in every single time, and I'm glad I did. It was really amazing, really amazing.
I wonder if some is it too at this point? Would anybody like? Are people still screening it, or is it like I don't know how it works? Is it like too late for it to
No,
still have screens?
so now that's what I was referring to before. Like once it's in distribution, it's like they'll like, okay, so and so is putting it on their channel, but they don't promote it. They don't. It's just really, really sad. And then my sales agents for overseas, they're like, nobody really cares overseas. It's like so not true. The amount of people write me from overseas that like, where's your movie? It's just. I was told by my sales agents for the overseas, they were like, well, it's really not Mafia because Robert De Niro's not in it. That was an actual quote. I was like, got it.
Right.
Got it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
And
telling
then
everybody over here.
I heard no stars, but now Odessa Azion, who is in I Love LA, and she's coming out in the Marty Supreme. She's gonna be a star any day now. If not, she is now. And
the acting in that, I mean,
it's
so
beyond.
This is to your credit because it's hard to do good acting if the writing sucks, and it's also hard to do good acting if the directing sucks. So this is a credit to you also and your acting. The acting was so good. I mean, I remember thinking like, how did this not get like Oscar noms? It was so like
because
those actresses
it's all bought and paid for.
Good.
It's all bought and paid for, all of it. Just to have an Oscar campaign is so much money you wouldn't even believe.
I bet.
Just for the Independent Spirit Awards that are supposed to be independent.
Yeah.
It's the amount of money you need for a campaign we just didn't have.
Gosh. Yeah, so these are the things people don't know. Like they don't, like people don't realize that like one of my people I had on recently, to get into Fringe, to do a one woman show, I was like, she spent like 10 grand because you have to pay for everything. I thought I had no idea because I've never even done the whole circuit. So I like it when people, we don't talk enough about money and how important it is, what it looks like and what we need and how you get it and how hard it is to get it. So I love that you are we get to see behind the curtain of what it really takes.
But people literally were like, "Oh, you're gonna be nominated for an Oscar." It's like, guys, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, you need 10, 15 grand to just submit the film. Like, I don't.
This is why you have to pay that much just to like enter the race.
Just for people to watch it, like you have no idea. You have no idea.
No, I don't. I was just a crew member, man. I didn't know crap about that stuff.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's really, and then all the screenings and all the. I mean, look, Honora was 6 million or 8 million, and their marketing budget was 18 million.
Oh my God!
It would like so. There you go. You want to know why it did what it did? Because there you go. And yeah, he's an amazing filmmaker, but I'm sorry. I'll stop speaking.
All right. Well, so I know that you had a pretty hard out. So on that note, one more time, tell people where to go. Especially the website so they can get on the
Rebel Collective.
Rebel Collective.
Yeah, a rebelcollective.com. Everything is there. Everything from what's coming to the classes to the podcast. Everything. I so appreciate the support. You really did support. Saw the movie on your own and got out there. So I really do appreciate what you did here. Really, thank you.
I mean, I've made some videos about it, but I'm not done. I got more videos to make about it.
I appreciate it. And to everyone who has come on this, I really appreciate the support. It means a lot.
Thank you for taking time to be with me today. I was like, I know you have so much going on, but I was like,
no.
Yes, she finally she can do it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It was awesome meeting you.
Yeah, finally. We've been like through video for a long time. But
I know.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, Jennifer. And I'll see y'all next time. Thank y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.